Alright, welcome back everybody. Today we're talking about the Paris Exposition of 1889. So yeah, I stumbled upon this map by looking into the world's expositions, and I was trying to find more detailed information on the world's fairs at my university library. I came across this Paris Expo from 1889. So naturally, I got interested after seeing these pictures. Some pretty crazy stuff. This building is magnificent. And yeah, they all look pretty crazy and just really advanced. A lot of domage, a lot of spires and antennas. So I thought I'd make this quick video. It took me a while to compile all this, as there were a lot of rabbit holes I decided to go down here. But let's just look at the map. So here you can see it's about like 2 or 3 feet by another 2 feet. And it really just zooms in on all these different districts of Paris, fully built out and established already. You can see like the walls of the city. Here's the layout for the exposition. So apparently the exposition had 2 large sites. They had the Champ de Mars on the left bank, which had the parade ground and had been occupied in the 78 World's Fair. They had the Palace of Machines here, the Palace of Fine Arts, the Liberal Arts, and the Eiffel Tower. And then it extended across the Seine to the right bank, where the Trocadero Palace was built for the 78 exposition. The slope was filled with fountains, gardens, and horticultural exhibits. And then there was a second site called the Esplanade of Les Invalides, which hosted the pavilions of the French colonies, with outdoor restaurants, foods, Indochina, North Africa, and other cuisines. Now, in addition to the architectural displays of the colonies, the exposition showcased the construction of villages inhabited by natives and colonials to be observed by viewers. The colonized people had their daily lives displayed, and some of them felt uncomfortable. A jeweler from Senegal, who was part of the exposition, said the following: "We are very humiliated to be exhibited in this way, in huts like savages. These straw and mud huts do not give an idea of Senegal. In Senegal, we have very large buildings, railroad stations, railroads. We light them with electricity. The Bureau of Hygiene does not tolerate the construction of this type of hovel." So I thought that was interesting that the people who were supposedly being paid a bunch of money to be exhibited here weren't even having fun doing it. And then also there was the element of the entrances. Now there were 22 different entrances to the expo. Now think of your conventional festival. You got like maybe 3 or 4 entrances. They had 22. And there were 2 tall pylons of colorful ornament, like giant candelabras, at one entrance by the Les Invalides. Now I'll just read you a little bit about the exposition. So apparently the exposition was to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the storming of Bastille, which was an event that occurred in Paris on the 14th of July, 1789, when revolutionaries stormed and seized control of the medieval armory, fortress, and political prison known as the Bastille, which looks like an old-ass fort. Apparently it was the Royal Authority Center of Paris, and the prison could only contain 7 prisoners at a time, but was seen as a symbol of the abuse of the power. So now they have Bastille Day to celebrate this. Okay, what does that have to do with the World's Fair? I'm not entirely sure, but they always have some type of event that they're celebrating, or like an anniversary of. Like we saw in the last one was cotton. You don't really need anything too crazy to throw a World's Fair, I guess. It was seen to stimulate the economy, even though they were just exiting a big depression less than 10 years ago. And you'll see just the cost that must have gone into this. If you're trying to stimulate the economy, maybe do like, I don't know, maybe do like a food drive, or like ask for some donations, or do a raffle or something. I've never seen somebody build out a whole city like this just for some funds. It seems like it would cost way more than you would make. But yeah, we'll kind of get into that here real quick in a second with some of these buildings. As you can see, they had unlimited budget, which is weird that they say they're trying to raise funds when they raise most of these buildings. So this is the layout of it. And you can see how vast the complex is with the Eiffel Tower at the center. And here, this building is interesting. That center building has been removed, but the side walls are still there. I'll show you later. And here is, I think, Cleo, I don't know, some ancient Greek-looking depiction with the expo in the background. I thought was interesting. And just some like corkscrew building of the Eiffel Tower. Now, when the Eiffel Tower was illuminated back then, it looked like this, which is pretty crazy, just to see how it would interact with the other buildings and that huge-ass fountain and all that smoke at the bottom. And this is from inside of the Machinery Palace. Now, just look how vast and high those ceilings are. Like, you did not need to build those ceilings so high. I guess Edison was displaying his phonograph. So now I guess the point of like all these World's Fairs is to show off different machines and inventions, and these are some type of weird looking non-functional cannons. Well, not functioning in terms of artillery. This is another shot inside. You just see, look at this. Like, if you were trying to raise funds, why would you go through the detail of everything? Why wouldn't you just put up a flat wall? But yeah, they had this hot air balloon at the center. Pretty strange stuff. And I'll show you what it looks like today in regards to that missing building that they tore down. So this is the Eiffel Tower, and then we'll spin you around here in a sec. I did see these interesting little sculptures of people kind of holding things up. I didn't get much more detail on that, but I thought that was peculiar. But yeah, so here you can see those side walls of the building, a bull statue, and then that center building has been removed, which is kind of interesting because it was the most grand of all these buildings. Here I'll show you again what it looked like before they tore it down. Yeah, so here you have that center building that was taken down. And then I found this on Google Maps, just kind of scrolling around, these two open-armed statues I thought was interesting, with this like Egyptian pharaoh baby. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but what is going on this baby's head? And they all have this like kind of arms out, approach, which got me thinking of the Chicago World's Fair, where there's that giant statue of, I don't know who they say it is, Columbus or something, holding its arms out, and you can see these like weird jagged spires and antennas all over the place. So that got me thinking of this university that's kind of close to where I live, and you can see these weird jagged spires, and this is in Wisconsin of all places. And you can see those like weird cymatic patterns in the center, and across the street they've got the same weird little spires on the top. So yeah, here you can see how tall this person is, probably about 5'8", 6 foot, and it's not even halfway of the door. Like, so why would you make the door so goddamn big? But here are some more jagged spires, and then I'll zoom in here in a second on this cornerstone. And this church looks like it could be 1,000 years old, I don't know. But if you zoom in here, you see they only give it 100 years. Church of the Gesu, which kind of reminds me of the Church of Jedso in Japan. You can see a little bell. I was trying to get a reverse picture of this church because there's a similar jutting out pattern as the one in France, but I wasn't able to find it. So we just saw some big old pillars, and now we're looking at more jagged spires with these weird droopy things at the top. No crosses anywhere to be found the older the churches are, from what I've noticed. And you can see how high off the ground it is. Like, don't know where the level of elevation was when they were building this, but they should have maybe thought about that. More cymatic frequency patterns. And looks like a peace sign right there in the window. That's kind of funny. And yeah, just another old-ass church. Looks like it's painted red now, but who knows what's underneath. And then here's just more shots of the fair. You can see like a parade celebration or something. And wish I had a higher quality picture of that, but you can see the detail that went into this. Supposedly it only took them like a year and a half, 2 years to build this all. You got palm trees. Like, what is going on here? Why build that big bell tower if this is only going to last you a day, or a year, And then this is, I think, from the 78 Exposition. But still, you just see the level of detail that would go into building this. Oh, wait, no, this isn't the 78 one. So here's like a plan for the Eiffel Tower. And then you can see these antennas on the corner here. These crazy looking antennas. Never seen anything like it before. And then the Republic of Mexico. Same kind of like temple pattern. And here's a construction shot with that big ass building in the background. And then I think this is a view from the tower itself out onto the Exposition, the White City. And you could just see the grand nature of this event. This is not your fucking backyard fair, my dudes. And then, yeah, this magnificent building, these crazy fountains. And there's not even anybody here. You can see all these empty chairs. Another wild-looking building. Some of this growth looks so, like, overgrown a little bit. It doesn't look like it's, like, fresh construction at all. That wild dome as well. This is the Palace of India. Looking pretty intense. I can only imagine what was going through their mind when they came up with that. And then of course, you have to have the Nicaragua Palace right next to the Eiffel Tower. You can see in the background some of the detail on the Eiffel Tower, which was removed. Another grand building, which was taken down. These crazy structures and sculptures. Always with these winged deities at the top of it, like it's ancient Rome or something. Another little pavilion here. Yeah. Then more like, looks like all these paintings, they have more artwork than they have wall space. We see this at all the world's fairs. They have a million paintings. And then look at all these spires over here with these griffins at the top on the right. It seems like they had these hot air balloons inside as well. It looks like these were created with like some type of hot air balloon or aerial device in mind, because they're so high ceilings. You can see the whole exposition grounds here. So now we're going to look into the 78 Exposition. Apparently it was to celebrate the recovery of France from the war. Although the fairgrounds were unfinished, which is weird since they had 13 million visitors. Now remember, the 89 one only had 65,000 visitors. So this is kind of weird. It doesn't seem like it adds up in that. And you can see in the top right, the Palace de Trocadero was built for this one, but it was reused for the Exposition in the 1900s. So they're not even going with the narrative that these are temporary structures, as these ones lasted at least 30 years by the narrative. And then, yeah, you can see these big urns with these wires coming out of them. Here you can see the different pavilions and the antennas, the focus on antennas. This huge machinery hall, like, did it really have to be that big? Like, couldn't it have been a third of the size? And here's that Trocadero as well, and with the overgrown waters. And this is the view from hot air balloon. World's Fair, you can see the world with the constellations. Some crazy spires going on here. Of course, they had to tear that one down. with the giant lady at the top. Now this is what the top of the Eiffel Tower looks like today. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this kind of shocked me. I had never really seen like a detailed picture like this, showing the different antennas. Looks pretty jagged and wrangly. I don't know if I'd want to be going to the top of that, but... And I guess these are the different types of antennas. I don't know. It looks like this thing was designed as an antenna in mind, but I don't think that's what we're told, but who knows. And then here's with the Trocadero in the background with those top little pieces that were removed at the base of the Eiffel Tower. Because newer pictures, those are gone. And you can just see how vast this complex is. This isn't just putting up a tent for a fair, people. This is really next level shit. Apparently Paris also had a fair in the 50s. Oh yeah, this is another design with 2 external towers. Those were removed or never made in the first place. Who knows? Another design for it. I didn't know all these like alternate designs were here. With these like angels, of course. This looks more like a cathedral, with that cymatic pattern in there. But yeah, the overlap between the Eiffel Tower and a cathedral is kind of interesting to me. I don't think they're like offhand I would have suspected that, but here's all the other supposed proposed ideas for the towers. Yeah, and here's a Statue of Liberty, which was also showcased at one of these expositions in pieces, I guess. They like have the arm here and the head just kind of sitting in a field. And then here is the Tower of Invalids, which I thought was an old world looking building. Just this whole complex. This is a painting. But yeah, these old buildings look like it could be anywhere in the world. And here you can see from inside, and this crazy spire at the top. It almost kind of looks like Eiffel Tower at the top. That's what it looks like in the sun. This is what the palace grounds look like. And here's from the ground. I just thought this was a cool looking ancient building. I don't really know too much about it, but this guy here, sitting with it in the background. Here's like a big kerfuffle around it. Here are some sketches about it. Another old world looking building. You can see with those golden domes and the spire on top. So now as a little bonus, I thought I'd go around the world and show some of the replicas of the Eiffel Tower. You got them in Vegas. You got them all the way out in Prague. And this octagonal pattern is pretty familiar. A lot of these seem pretty intentional. This one seems in the middle of fucking nowhere in Russia. But this is actually built for a mobile phone tower. So, I mean, you see the functionality of it as an actual antenna or a tower outweighs its novelty of just a structure. Here in Tokyo, there's another one, or Shanghai or something. This is huge. I think this might be the biggest one. This is in Canada. Like, what the frick? Little mini one. And here's the biggest one that I could find that looked like it was an old world Eiffel Tower. This is from 1894, I think. So just a few years later. Just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah. So once again, thanks for chilling with me, guys, and tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you had a great New Year, Christmas. Right at New Year, it started snowing. So we got a little winter wonderland on our hands. This is me walking home last night. Not a soul out except in the car. And even the cars were driving slow. So yeah, thanks to everybody for all the love. I'll try to keep these videos regular. I got another map of San Francisco from the 1915 exposition coming up next. And then also juxtaposed with an 1859 map of San Francisco. So I think I'll put those both together. I know people like the San Francisco content because it seems kind of odd. So, yeah. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm going to start posting maps on Patreon. I'll post, like, the raw maps on Patreon before I make these videos. And my Venmo is @HoppersLuck if you want to support me. So thank you guys so much. Catch you later.